So cooking, it's easier, it's faster, it's more fun when you have the right equipment.
Personal chef Bill Collins from chefbill.com is here to show us the essential utensils every kitchen needs. All right, so these are the essentials, you say?
Yes, they are. And these are things, you buy them once generally, maybe once later on, but in the course of your lifetime, this stuff will generally last forever. That's how great this stuff is and how necessary it is for every kitchen.
I say, it seems like a lot, but that's right. You just buy it once, so it's a good investment, and maybe you buy good pieces so you don't have to buy it again.
Exactly, and it also looks like you're going to be filling up every cabinet and drawer in your kitchen, but really, it's just one or two drawers. It's not even a junk drawer thing that every kitchen has, but this is stuff you're going to use, and you're going to go to the same place for it every time.
Right. Well, let's start at the whisk.
The whisk is one of those things where you think, gee, well, I don't really whisk things, but you find that it comes in very handy. Don't necessarily have to make whipped cream by hand, but if you don't have a sifter, if you're baking, just mix up the flour and sugar and other ingredients to kind of whisk it all together. Putting sauces together, say you're just making something, whether it be from a mix, heaven forbid, or if it's from just kind of mixing things together, making a salad dressing, the whisk is perfect every time.
And that's a rather large whisk, isn't it? Would you say?
It's actually, no. I mean, actually, in a professional kitchen, you can find huge whisk.
Oh.
That's a good size to have.
Perfect size, okay. Now the tongs.
Okay, let me see those tongs.
You can't live without those, because whether it be with your outside grilling, turning things over, or just moving things around in a skillet in your kitchen, or if you're pulling something out of a stock pot, it comes right out, because if you're trying to do forks or something like that, it doesn't work. Good pair of tongs, those will last for years and years.
Now what's going on here? Are these fancy butter knives?
Well, yes and no. They can be fancy butter knives. You have some friends over, you have a little dip, a little spread or something out. Instead of saying, I just have a butter knife from your silverware drawer, a couple of those, $1 each. It's a nice little change of scenery. I always have a couple of those around.
Yeah. And the pop of color's nice too.
That's the thing, yep.
Color. Now this is for measuring. You have the measuring cups, spoons, and the...
Yep, this is generally considered for liquid, and this is generally considered for dry. And between that and the measuring spoons, if you're doing a little bit of baking, even if, again, you're making something from a mix, you have to have the right amount to put in that the recipe calls for. Liquid is slightly minuscule difference between a liquid measurement and a dry, but if something calls for 2 cups of water, instead of going like a bunch of little measuring cups, you have the classic Pyrex, and this is also heat proof, so you don't have to worry about putting boiling water in.
Right. It's safe.
Now, this seems like a little frivolous. Ice cream scoop, Bill? We need it?
Believe it or not, you do.
All right.
Because it makes life so much easier. You've got the big half-gallon of ice cream that you've got some friends over. Usually go in at it with a spoon, and you have these little
My
things.
spoon always bends.
I was just going to get to that. That's a funny thing. It seems like really an ice cream scoop. And also, this is the classic ice cream scoop. There's antifreeze in here, and it just makes the scooping so much easier.
And now that means you can't put it in the dishwasher, though, right?
Correct. I'm glad you said that. Absolutely, because you will kill that. You can still scoop with it, but it's not as effective.
Except my parents are watching now. I put theirs in the dishwasher. It's ruined. I haven't told them until just now, so I'm sorry. And you can look forward to one for Christmas. Let's talk spoons.
Confession on massive
Exactly.
All right, so this is spoons. We used to have the wooden spoons and the stainless steel. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. And there's a big difference between these. You like to have wooden spoons for stirring things in the pot, as opposed to using a metal where you get that scraping metal on metal, or if you're deglazing a pan where you kind of get all the bits stuck from the bottom. You want a wooden spoon. It does make a big difference, and it just it works so much better than just the metal on metal. However, you do still need the larger spoons. Scooping something out of a liquid, say you've got a super stock, or you want to just take something out that's in there, you've got the slotted spoon, or even just taking out bigger quantities of something from a larger pot. Difference is this is a bigger spoon than the wooden spoon.
And now the spoons, but what is this specific tool used for?
I like this because if I'm scraping something in the bottom of the pan or deglazing, it covers more area than just the point of the rounded spoon. So if they say at Thanksgiving when you're making all the gravy, it just covers more area, so it's faster and easier.
Speaking of Thanksgiving, potato masher.
I love the potato masher. You can use a fork or a spoon to mash them, but this works perfectly. Some people like to use an electric mixer to make them perfectly smooth. I like to use this masher because you still have lumps and things in the potatoes, and it's a classic. This design has probably been around for hundreds of years, and you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, my mama has one just like that. She's so proud of it.
Exactly.
It's old, but it still works perfect.
Yep.
Pizza cutter.
Yes, because somebody asked me the other day, what do I like to make most? And that's pizza. Starting from scratch, it's easy, and then when you get to the end, you've got the pizza. How do you cut it? Well, instead of dragging a knife across, you just drag a pizza wheel, just like in the pizza shop, and you run across doing it that way. So that's always something nice to have.
Now, Chef Bill, lastly, this one.
That's a cookie cookie spatula or a cookie lifter.
Now, you need that?
You know, yes, you do, I think,
right.
because whether you're making, again, cookies from a mix, or I prefer cookies from scratch, if you use a full-size spatula, because the cookies are so small, you end up going to a cookie next to it. This is exactly the size of most cookies. You scoop it up and you put it onto the cooling rack. So, believe it or not, it's a $1.99 item, and when you don't have it, you say, I wish I had a smaller spatula for lifting out the cookies. So, it's one of those things. Actually, somebody gave me that as a gift. I thought, really? And I can't live without it.
Oh, see, and there's many more utensils that you can't live without, and we're going to go over those
Absolutely.
a little later in the show. Thanks, Chef Bill.
Thank you.
We are back with personal chef Bill Collins from chefbill.com.
And you're going to show us even more utensils that are essential for every single kitchen. So
Absolutely.
we're going to pick up at the thermometer, which I have to say I don't own. I kind of just eyeball it.
Well, sure. Now, this is called an instant read thermometer because you put it into whether it be a chicken or whatever you're baking or roasting, and the temperature comes up instantly. And the reason this is a good idea is you know what the temperature is. For instance, you can look at a chicken when it's roasting and say, I'm not quite sure it's done. You take the temperature, it's 165 degrees. You've got a cooked chicken. Those cost about $10. They last forever. They're adjustable in that, say you're not quite sure the temperature is right because they get out of adjustment like any thermometer, put it in ice water, make a little quick adjustment, and you've got it ready to go. So that really is a kitchen essential.
Now, there's 2 wine bottle openers here.
Yes.
Seems a little redundant to me.
It is. Now, it's funny. A lot of people prefer this because it looks easier. The classic, well, with the wings, the corkscrew. This is my favorite. It's also called a wine waiter's corkscrew.
It takes me back to when I used to wait tables.
Exactly, and it's so easy. You just put the top in like that, put it down, pop it up, and also it puts on a bit of a better show. People think, oh, that's kind of cool that you can do it.
It is impressive.
Easy.
I know.
It's
I always
so
get.
easy.
I can't do it. So whenever somebody does, I'm like,
easy. We'll have to do a lesson.
We'll teach you. We'll
Yes.
cut open
That's
some
right.
wine. And the other thing, too, these both open beer bottles or soda bottles, too, up top.
They sure do. Yeah, so they do everything. And actually, these also have a little blade on there, which, to cut the foil around the top of a bottle of wine.
Oh.
So it takes care of the whole thing.
It does it all.
It does it
now,
all.
I see that you have a handheld can opener and not an electric one.
Yes, because in a power failure, you can always open up a can of tuna.
Yes.
And
it's not that hard to use a handheld one.
It isn't. Now, the funny thing is, I've gone through many can openers over the years, and I found that if you spend a little bit more money, it's going to last you forever, and it's easy, because sometimes you really struggle with it, which is why people go with the electric ones. Spend about $8 or $10, and this will last forever. So that's what I've learned for can openers.
And what's going on with that yellow contraption right there?
Well, a client showed me one of those once, and I thought, well, that's kind of an unnecessary item, because I was being very judgmental. And this is actually when you put in a lemon or lime when you want to squeeze the juice out. Well, why not just either squeeze it with your hand or use one of those little reamers? And here's why this is so good. And I didn't bring along a lemon or a lime, but it's counterintuitive. You put it, you cut it in half, and you don't put it round side down. Round side is up, flat side down, and you squeeze it in that way. And the great thing about this is you get so much more juice out of it than you would by any other method. It's a $10 item. It'll last you for years and years. And because I also do a lot of zesting in my cooking, that means I've got a lot of lemons and limes left over. Make a lot of lemonade and limeade, and that's just so fast and
Very
easy.
good, and it's fun to use. I got one after you had.
Do you
it on the show.
really?
Yeah, I got one.
I want to come over and zest
it's so
and
fun.
squeeze.
Oh no, not zest. I do this.
Well,
Just
speaking of
squeeze it, juice it,
zesting,
yeah.
we got this area. This is for zesting over here.
Yes, and well, before we get to that, I really actually do want to highlight the scissors. And you say, well, what do you want kitchen scissors for? Why are they so special? Most people use them for use their household project scissors, and you can't clean those. These are called break apart or breakaway scissors, and that way you can clean them, because you get all kinds of gunky stuff in there, bacteria builds up, and who knows what school projects were in there if you use household scissors. That's why you want to go with breakaway scissors.
Love it.
Wow.
But the zesters and things like that, these are indispensable because, again, whether it be you're zesting a lemon or lime, grating nutmeg, Parmesan cheese. These are 2 different sizes of microplanes, and Microplane is the brand name, and they are actually the best. Hello, Microplane people. But these are really, really good, better than even a box grater. The thing about box graters I use just this big size for carrots and for shredding cheese, is they're sharp but not sharp enough. So you go to put a little more pressure on, and there go your knuckles.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
So that's why
And those things, the biggest pain in the neck to clean. These
Exactly.
Are. Ugh. Get a
Exactly.
mandolin instead. That's my piece of advice. Get a mandolin.
Exactly, mandolins are very valuable. And then you've got your basic peeler.
That's
And
essential.
This is essential for vegetables, even some fruit. So it's crucial to have.
But I find those don't last forever like a lot of these other ones do. I feel like mine gets dull. I don't know if there's a way to sharpen it. But
Well, actually, technically there is a way, but you're probably better off to get a new one. Now, this brand, it's from OXO, and I get no money from the OXO people for saying that. It is really the best that I've found, and it stays sharp for years and years.
Oh.
I have used cheaper ones over the years, and you're right, they don't last. This one, it lasts, so it's just very good to have.
take it from a chef.
That's
you
true.
always know.
Practice,
I trust you.
practice.
Now spatulas. We have some spatulas there.
Spatulas. Now, this is a standard spatula. Now, what you want to get is one that's, and the label says it's for high temperature, so you can go right into the saucepan and move things around, whether you're doing some quick scrambled eggs or whatever you're doing.
Without eating rubber on top.
Exactly.
No one
you
likes
don't
that.
want to melt your utensils
No.
into your food. That's not a good idea. This is a brand I came across a few years ago. My sister sent it to me, and I thought, well, okay, this is another spatula. This is also silicone and very high heat, but given the shape of it, you can clear out jars completely, and you can do so much more, or an entire bowl, without leaving any food bits in the back. Very clever idea, and I've got a number of these. So, and this will last for, again, years. Not forever, but you can get many years out of your spatula.
Now, unfortunately, we're running out of time, and I see cutting boards at the end, but what I don't see there, any wooden cutting boards.
Yes, I prefer these because even though they're both safe and you can clean them off of bacteria after cleaning them, you can put these in the dishwasher and you can bleach these to get them completely clean. And I like to have multiple ones, so one is just for meats, or if you have one with raw meat on it, put it in the dishwasher and then you can go back to the other one. So it's a sanitation thing, have the different sizes, but I do prefer the plastic, the polyboard over the wooden one.
Chef Bill, a lot of utensils. Thank you so much for stopping by, ladies. Are great.
Thank you very much.
And for a complete list of utensils, you can visit our website, mymassappeal.com, later on today.